Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a major development that is sending shockwaves across the battlefield and far beyond it. Russia is reeling after Ukraine's high-impact attack, and the consequences are being felt not just on the front lines, but inside the Kremlin, across military command structures, and even among ordinary citizens watching events unfold with growing uncertainty. This wasn't just another strike. It was calculated, precise, and strategically timed to shift momentum in a conflict that has already reshaped Europe's security landscape. Over the past months, the war between Russia and Ukraine has moved through phases of attrition, long-range drone warfare, artillery duels, and infrastructure targeting. But this particular attack stands out because of its impact. It struck at a critical node in Russia's military logistics, exposing vulnerabilities that many analysts believed Moscow had already secured. Instead, the strike revealed cracks beneath the surface. Reports indicate that Ukraine targeted a high-altitude military facility linked to supply coordination and command communication. Within minutes, explosions lit up the sky. Satellite imagery later showed extensive structural damage. Videos circulating online captured massive fireballs and thick plumes of smoke rising for hours. The visual evidence alone suggested something far more serious than a routine skirmish. What makes this moment so significant is timing. The attack came when Russia was attempting to project stability and control. President Vladimir Putin had recently emphasized resilience, signaling that Russia's military machine remained strong despite sanctions and battlefield setbacks. But a high-impact strike like this disrupts that narrative. Military analysts believe Ukraine used a combination of precision, guided munitions, and possibly long-range drones to penetrate layered defenses. If confirmed, this demonstrates not only technological advancement, but improved intelligence coordination. For Russia, that raises difficult questions. How did Ukrainian forces identify the target so accurately? And how were they able to bypass air defense systems designed to prevent exactly this kind of breach? The psychological impact may be just as powerful as the physical damage. When a heavily guarded facility is hit successfully, it shakes confidence inside military ranks. Commanders must reassess protocols, troops may question whether their positions are secure, and citizens watching from home begin to wonder whether the war is drifting into a new and unpredictable phase. Ukraine's leadership has framed the attack as a strategic necessity. President Volodymyr Zelensky has consistently argued that degrading Russian logistics is key to shortening the war. From Kyiv's perspective, every strike that disrupts ammunition supply lines or command structures brings them closer to regaining occupied territory. This attack also signals a shift in capability. Earlier in the conflict, Ukraine relied heavily on defensive operations and Western-supplied artillery. Now, we're seeing more complex operations that combine surveillance, targeting, and coordinated strikes. That evolution suggests months of preparation and adaptation. Inside Russia, reactions have been mixed. State media initially downplayed the severity of the incident, describing it as a limited disruption quickly contained. However, independent sources and satellite analysis paint a more dramatic picture. Fires reportedly burned for hours, and emergency crews worked overnight to control the aftermath. The economic dimension cannot be ignored. Military facilities are not isolated structures. They connect to transport hubs, fuel depots, and production chains. A single well-placed strike can ripple through multiple sectors. Repairing infrastructure requires resources. Replacing lost equipment demands funding. In a country already managing the effects of international sanctions, those costs accumulate. There is also the broader geopolitical angle. Western governments are watching closely. While direct involvement remains off the table, support for Ukraine continues in the form of equipment and intelligence sharing. A successful high-impact attack strengthens arguments in favor of continued assistance. It demonstrates that support translates into tangible battlefield outcomes. At the same time, escalation risks rise. Russia has historically responded to significant setbacks with intensified missile campaigns. Retaliatory strikes on energy infrastructure or urban centers are a possibility. That cycle of action and reaction deepens instability and prolongs suffering on both sides. From a military doctrine perspective, this event highlights the growing importance of precision warfare. Large-scale troop movements and static positions are increasingly vulnerable in the age of drones and satellite intelligence. Mobility, camouflage, and decentralized command are becoming essential for survival. For Ukrainian forces, the success reinforces morale. Symbolic victories matter. They energize troops and reassure civilians that resistance efforts are producing results. In wartime, perception often shapes endurance. Russian military planners now face urgent decisions. Reinforce air defenses, relocate command centers, increase counterintelligence measures. Each adjustment requires time and coordination. And in war, time is rarely abundant. The international media coverage has been intense. Headlines emphasize the scale of destruction and the strategic implications. Images of burning structures circulate rapidly on social platforms, fueling speculation and debate. Information warfare runs parallel to kinetic warfare, and both sides are keenly aware of narrative power. Another layer involves technological adaptation. Ukraine's use of long-range systems suggests growing self-sufficiency in drone manufacturing and modification. Domestic innovation reduces reliance on external suppliers and complicates Russia's defensive planning. Meanwhile, Russian officials may attempt to portray the attack as proof of Western involvement, aiming to rally domestic support. Such narratives can serve political purposes, even if evidence remains contested. The battlefield impact will unfold over days and weeks. If supply chains are disrupted, frontline units may experience shortages that can alter the tempo of operations. Even temporary disorganization can open tactical opportunities. Energy markets have reacted cautiously. Whenever infrastructure in the region faces damage, traders factor in potential supply disruptions. While this strike did not directly target energy pipelines, the broader instability keeps markets on edge. Diplomatically, the attack complicates any near-term negotiation prospects. Both sides interpret events through strategic lenses. For Ukraine, momentum encourages persistence. For Russia, setbacks may harden positions rather than soften them. One cannot overlook the human element. Behind every facility are workers, technicians, and soldiers. Casualty numbers remain uncertain, but any significant strike carries personal consequences for families. Cyber dimensions also play a role. Some analysts speculate that cyber interference could have accompanied the physical attack, disrupting communication or radar detection. Hybrid operations blur the lines between digital and physical battlefields. As the conflict continues, adaptability will define outcomes. Ukraine has shown an ability to evolve tactics rapidly. Russia, with its larger resources, still maintains substantial firepower. The balance remains fluid. Strategic analysts note that high-impact strikes can influence war duration. If they systematically degrade one side's operational capacity, the conflict's trajectory shifts. However, wars rarely hinge on a single event. They turn on cumulative pressure. Inside the Kremlin, internal debates may intensify. Military leadership must account for vulnerabilities. Political leadership must manage public perception. In prolonged conflicts, maintaining unity becomes as crucial as battlefield performance. For civilians in Ukraine, the strike offers a measure of vindication. For civilians in Russia, it may introduce uncertainty about security far from the front. The role of intelligence sharing is central. Modern warfare depends on real-time data. Satellite imagery, signal interception, and reconnaissance drones combine to form an information network that can guide precise strikes. Critically, this attack underscores that geography alone does not guarantee safety. Facilities located deep inside territory once considered secure are now within reach of advanced systems. The broader message is clear. The war has entered a phase where strategic depth is shrinking. Long-range capabilities compress distance, making rear areas vulnerable. Some military experts suggest that Russia may accelerate defensive modernization, integrating more mobile air defense units and dispersing assets. Decentralization could reduce the effectiveness of similar future strikes. At the same time, Ukraine will likely study the outcome closely, identifying what worked and what can be refined. Continuous improvement is a hallmark of survival in high-intensity conflict. International reactions vary. Some leaders emphasize Ukraine's right to self-defense. Others caution against escalation. Balancing support with stability remains a delicate diplomatic dance. The symbolism of the strike resonates beyond immediate damage. It signals resilience and initiative. It communicates that the conflict is not frozen but dynamic. In the coming weeks, we may see shifts in deployment patterns. Reinforcements could be redirected. Supply routes might be altered. Every change carries strategic implications. For observers, the key question is sustainability. Can Ukraine maintain this tempo of high-impact operations? And can Russia absorb the shock without significant degradation? Wars test endurance. They strain economies, institutions, and societies. This attack adds another layer of strain. Public opinion inside both countries will continue evolving. Information control and media narratives shape perception, but visible destruction challenges even the strongest messaging. Ultimately, this event represents more than a tactical victory. It reflects the evolving character of the war itself. As we analyze the aftermath, it becomes evident that no side holds absolute security. Innovation and adaptation are constant. The world watches, aware that regional conflict carries global consequences. And as developments unfold, we will continue to break them down and explore what they mean for the future of this war and the broader geopolitical landscape. Stay tuned, because the ripple effects of this high-impact strike are only beginning to reveal themselves.